Hello guys, short video today. I'm going to talk you through a little bit of the um, IVRA Clubsport race that's coming up. So I did a hot lap with the Cayman GT4 and I'm just talking you through a little bit of what we see here, talking you through the hot lap and see things. So this is a 127.19. I did that lap in practice here. We are 23-degree track temperature and I have the BOP applied, so the Cayman has 20 kilo plus in. So let's just hold on a second. I need to shift that back here and let's just quickly see where we can go with this. You see my inputs down low here. Oh my God, please shift that. You see my inputs down low here, so you can see a little bit of what I do. Let's just try and see if this actually works. So you see down here, this was a 127.1 and I have full fuel applied. Wait, where is it there? 66 liters. That is basically what we're going to do for the race. So let's just quickly talk through a little bit of what actually happened here. So first corner, you have to remind, this is a low downforce car. And what is really tricky is to actually see this corner, because you have the feeling like you could go way inside, but you don't really see where the apex actually is. And from the knowings, the apex would be right around the curb that is on the inside there, but not for the GT4 because you don't want to strike the curb. So what you try to do is you try to get rid of that curb. So what I did, I braked at 100 meter, steered into the corner, hitting the brakes not too hard, like 60%ish or something, not really steering a lot into the corner as I'm hitting the brakes, because if you hit the brakes and steer into the corner, you tend to over rotate the car, so that's not what you want to do. So I steered into the corner. Basically, I just hit my apex around here, and then as soon as I arrived the curb, I'm fully back on throttle and I just missed the curb. And I'm using a little trick here. The outside curb is giving me that extra load to the left hand side. That's what I'm using here a little bit. So that's the first corner. Braking into the second corner, overshoot it like I did here. You see it, I overshoot it, shift down to second gear, fully accelerate again. Hitting the brakes like 80%ish around here. Let me just quickly show it back to you. Like, I'm fully throttled here. You see I'm braking around the 200 meter board. You cannot see that, but it's right on my left hand side. That's where I hit the brakes. And you see it here, I hit the brakes like 80%ish. You don't want to press the brakes 100%. Don't do it. Just 80%, that's enough. And take a V-shaped form into that corner, because you have a falling down corner. So you need to load the tire into the corner because you lose the load. That's exactly what happens here. Here I'm getting over the bump. I'm losing the load on the fronts. I'm shifting outside. Still a bit on the brake, like not much, like 10%ish on the brake. And then shifting down to second gear. And as soon as I get through that hole down low, I'm fully throttled again because I get the load back on the front tire. And also here taking the outside curb to get that extra load to the inside. Then apparently we do have quite long straight, which is not too much of an importance. And I hit the brakes around 370 meters. And this is super interesting here because you have to smash the brakes like 80% initially. And what you do then, you have a super loose car here. Like, you see that the corner folds down, but you have like a little bit of a higher corner. It goes a little bit up to the outside here. That's what you can see just when you look into the corner. So you can make that actually work while a little bit in drift. Like, look at my steering wheel. I'm here already. I'm fully braked. Don't mind that acceleration bar. That's just because of the downshift and the automatic blip. And I'm a little bit loose, but I try to correct it a little bit all the time, basically. You see it, like, it's really hyper loose. And I hit that curb on the inside, which is not what you want to do. You want to avoid that. But then in third gear, accelerated early. Like, you see the car was hyper loose as I got into the corner. But as of the shape of the corner, it's not any kind of an issue. Even as I hit the curb on the inside, which makes the car bouncy a little bit, and makes me lose on the outside tire, it's no matter for the car. It just doesn't. You can ignore it because the corner has a V shape, so you have that extra grip. Like, look at where I get with the car. Like, I'm not even going to the outside. And then very crucial for the next corner is that you stick to third gear, because if you shift down to second gear and you go over that hill, you see we have a hill here again, and the corner falls down at the exit. If you go into second gear, you lose that load on the car that you have, and the car just wants to spin. So being and sticking to third gear in this corner is actually a thing, because you get better power out of the corner. Nothing special to be said about that corner. It's just straightforward from outside to inside. Not even too wide on the outside, just like you can actually drive that corner from the inside, because it goes up, so you have the load on the front, but as soon as you hit over the corner, you lose that load instantly. So what is very important out of that corner, again, stick to third gear. You see, I'm actually driving this like a normal corner. Like, that is not too much of an issue, although I go over the curb, hill, sorry. If I would have been in second gear, the car would have, broken out on the rear, so that is a thing. So don't do this. Stick to third gear here. You can see you can almost full throttle it out of the corner. And very important here, look at my steering, what I do. Because you have a corner that goes down, you can have so good load on the front tires here, because you go through a hole, basically. And what you want to do is you want to transist the load that you have on the right-hand side over to the left-hand side. That's what you want to do here in this corner. So you see my movement of the steering wheel, it's super smooth. This whole passage here needs to be very, very smooth. So look at the steering wheel. I'm making the transition from the right-hand side instantly to the left-hand side. I'm not making the steering wheel straight again. Also from where I go, you can see it. Like, I shift the car over to the left, taking that load through that corner. Like, when the falling down goes straight again, basically, you go into that hole, so to speak. You can take that extra load on the front left tire to gain extra grip. That's super important here. Hit that curb on the inside. Nothing be said more about that. Also here, hitting the curb, shifting up to fourth. Avoiding that curb is a super important thing, and then something that I didn't do, but which is helpful if you're in a fight or something. Take that outside curb to get the extra load into that corner here. Like, we're going through a hole again, we're going up the hill, so you load your fronts especially. But as you go up the hill, you have a corner that falls down at the exit, and that is very crucial, because the angle of the car here needs to be right, because you lose all of the grip that you have on the fronts. Like, all the load that you get through the curb, and as the car goes up the hill, you lose it instantly if you go over the curb, if you go over the hill. Like, look at what happens. The angle needs to be right here. You can strike that inside curb. I would recommend to do that. And as soon as I go over the hill, basically, you're still way inside the corner, and what you see is that the car gets loose. Like, I'm struggling. You see that I need to counter steer. And also here you can take the outside curb to get extra load and momentum to the right-hand sider. Stick to 4th gear in that left-hander here. Take the outside curb again to make an extra load to the left-hand side. So you can go, what basically what this means is you can go faster through the corner than you would without that curb, basically. That's just what happens, because you see, if I'm striking that curb on the outside, the car just gives me that extra momentum to the left-hand side. That's very crucial and very important here. Next thing, this corner is super special because it is a very long corner that opens up and closes back in. So what you want to do, you want to stick to the whole inside line here. I see a lot of people going from the outside, not really making any sense. Just stick to the inside here. Overshoot the corner, like I do here. Like I overshoot it completely. Look at where I am in the far chase for a moment. Like I'm 1.5 car length on the inside, which is, by the way, a very good overtaking spot. If you are close enough behind the guy in front, you can overtake here so good. Other way around, if you're in front and the guy behind wants to overtake you or in a position fight, just close the inside here. There's nothing he can do about it. If you just shift the car from here to here, he just cannot overtake you. There's no way he can do that, because you're just freaking it away. So I overshoot the corner, shift down to 2nd gear even, steer into, and even before I go through the corner, you also see that I pulsate the brake here, to get the information on how loose the car actually is. I know a lot of people don't like to do this. I'm doing this all my life. Since I've done real racing motorsports, I do this. I know a lot of people don't like to see that, but I don't care. That's what I do. That's how I drive it. I pulsate a little bit, trying to maximize what I can take on speed throughout that corner. Not so much about the load, especially in those cars. It's more about the speed that you can take through the corners. Steering into the corner, pulsate a little bit, full throttled way before the apex here. Taking that extra momentum you get in 2nd gear, just accelerate out, and that's basically just the lap that you need to see. Well, that's it. I hope you can take a little bit away of this, and maybe your race gets better then.